History's Heroes presents Legends After Dark, Mount Shasta, the mountain that calls to people. Good evening, friends. Tonight we're traveling to Northern California, where a snow-capped volcano rises nearly 15,000 feet above the forest below. At first glance, Mount Shasta looks like exactly what it is, a beautiful mountain. But spend enough time around it and you'll discover something unusual. People don't simply visit Mount Shasta. They talk about it. They dream about it. They write books about it. And for more than a century, they've returned home convinced that there is something that they cannot describe about this mountain, and that's not easily explained either. Tonight, we are exploring the legends, mysteries, and stories surrounding one of America's most fascinating mountains. Not to prove anything, not to tell you what to believe, simply to tell you the story. Long before miners, settlers, tourists, and spiritual seekers arrived, Mount Shasta was already sacred. For thousands of years, the mountain held a central place in traditions of several Native American tribes, including the Karuk, Shasta, Modoc, and Wintu peoples. Each tribe carried its own stories. Some spoke of powerful spirits living within the mountain. Others told of great battles between supernatural beings. Many viewed the mountain not merely as a landmark, but as a living presence, a place deserving respect, a place where the ordinary world and the spirit world were once close together. One of the most enduring stories tells of a great sky spirit descending from the heavens to summit of Mount Shasta. The spirit carried power, creation, fire. From there, according to the legend, the world below began to take shape. To the people who lived in its shadow, Mount Shasta wasn't mysterious because it was strange. It was mysterious because it was sacred. And that distinction matters because much of what came later would be built on that foundation. In the late 19th and early 20th centuries, the American West was still a land of possibility. Railroads stretched across the continent, newspapers competed for remarkable stories, and a spiritual movement flourished. People everywhere were searching for answers beyond boundaries and traditional religion, and Mount Shasta became the perfect canvas. Then came one of the strangest chapters in the mountain's history, the legend of Lemuria. Lemuria began as a scientific hypothesis. 19th century researchers proposed the existence of a lost continent to explain similarities between species found across distant regions of the world. Eventually, the theory was abandoned, but the name survived, and soon it took on a life of its own. Writers and mystics began imagining an ancient civilization that once flourished in the Pacific Ocean. According to the legend, Lemuria sank beneath the seas thousands of years ago, but some of its people survived. Where did they go? Certain occult writers claim they fled underground, and one of the places they supposedly settled was beneath Mount Shasta. Soon stories began circulating about tall figures dressed in white robes appearing near the mountains. Witnesses claimed that they spoke ancient languages. Some described them as possessing extraordinary wisdom. Others said that they appeared and vanished without explanation. The supposed survivors of a lost continent became known simply as the Lemurians. No evidence has ever been confirmed of the existence of the underground city beneath Mount Shasta. Yet, the story has endured, and remarkably, it survives even to this day. Even now, visitors arrive hoping to glimpse the hidden inhabitants said to dwell beneath the mountain. But legends have a way of attracting believers, and in the early 20th century, one man claimed he found evidence that the stories hidden inside Mount Shasta were more than myth. His name was J.C. Brown. According to the story, Brown worked as a mining engineer near Mount Shasta during the early 1900s. While exploring remote tunnels within the mountain, he claimed to have discovered something extraordinary. Not a cave, not a mine, an underground complex. Brown described enormous chambers hidden beneath the mountain, ancient artifacts, strange symbols carved into stone, golden treasures, and evidence of a forgotten civilization unlike anything known to history. For years, he allegedly kept this discovery a secret. Then, in 1934, everything changed. Brown announced he was ready to reveal the location, a public expedition was organized. Word spread, interested citizens gathered. Some hoped to witness one of the greatest archaeological discoveries of the American history. Others simply wanted to know whether the old engineer was telling the truth. The day finally arrived. People showed up. Equipment was prepared. Excitement filled the air. But J.C. Brown never came. No underground city was ever revealed. No treasure was uncovered. And the man who sparked so much curiosity seemingly vanished from the story. Some believed he had invented the entire tale. Others thought he had became frightened after attracting so much attention. A few wondered whether someone persuaded him to remain silent. And of course, there were those who believed he had discovered exactly what he had claimed, and he disappeared because of it. To this day, no one knows for certain. The mountain keeps its secrets, and the legend only grew. Because sometimes a mystery becomes more powerful when the answers never arrive. As the decades passed, Mount Shasta's reputation continued to grow. By the 1950s and 1960s, UFO sightings had become part of American culture. Naturally, Mount Shasta entered that conversation. Pilots reported unusual lights. Campers described glowing objects moving silently across the night sky. Some claimed to have seen strange craft entering and leaving the mountain itself. Others believed that Mount Shasta was a powerful energy center connecting Earth to something beyond our understanding. Again, evidence remains inconclusive, but the stories accumulated, and Mount Shasta became one of the most frequently mentioned locations in American UFO folklore. What's fascinating isn't whether every story is true. It's that many of these stories sound remarkably similar despite coming from people who had never met each other. Strange lights, powerful emotions, a feeling of something present. Not necessarily visible, but present. Perhaps the most interesting mystery surrounding Mount Shasta isn't hidden cities, or UFOs, or lost civilizations. It's the mountain's effect on people. Ask enough visitors about Mount Shasta and you'll begin to hear a pattern. Many describe feeling unusual peace. Others speak of clarity. Some say they arrived carrying burdens and felt lighter. Skeptics point out that standing before one of America's most beautiful mountains naturally inspires profound emotions. And that's certainly true, but believers argue that there's something more difficult to measure, something that has drawn people back again and again for generations. Maybe both explanations can be true, but I can tell you from my personal experience that having never visited Mount Shasta and not knowing anything about it, when I first went there, I felt something overwhelmingly profound about Mount Shasta. And that's actually how I stumbled upon the legends about it, because when I Googled it, I couldn't stop thinking about it when I left, and I Googled it and found all these crazy stories, and I thought, yeah, there's definitely something out there. Today, Mount Shasta remains many things at once: a volcano, a sacred mountain, a source of native traditions, a center of spiritual exploration, a UFO hotspot, a home for legends, a mountain that seems to inspire stories wherever it falls in the shadows. And perhaps that's the real mystery. Not whether hidden civilizations exist beneath its slopes, not whether strange lights across its skies, but why one mountain continues to capture the human imagination generation after generation. Thousands have climbed it, millions have seen it in photographs, and countless people have stood in its shadows and felt something strange, and they struggle to explain it. Maybe that's enough, because sometimes the greatest legends aren't born from what we know, they're born from what we wonder. Thank you for joining me on another episode of History's Heroes, Legends After Dark. Sleep well, my friends. And if you ever find yourself beneath the shadow of Mount Shasta, take a moment to listen. You may not discover a hidden city, you may not discover lights in the sky, but you might understand why so many people leave believing the mountain is something far more than a rock under snow. Good night.